Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today I've got a video for you about collecting holders instead of coins. And so, of course, for those of you who are longtime collectors, you know the old adage, collect the coin, not the holder. And you've probably heard me say if you're a new collector, you've probably heard me say if you've watched just a little bit, to make sure that you look at the coin, not just the holder. And I've also told you how much I lament the modern coin label holders and how people will collect the labels instead of collecting the coins. And that happens a lot with the modern coins. First day of issue, from a specific show, stuff like that. It's generally not the thing that I like because for a long time at the coin shop, people would bring in other collectibles, and we still buy other collectibles now and again. But the problem was when people said, "Oh, you do collectibles, can I bring you my plates?" And they didn't mean like silver plates. They meant like, no, I've got this this plate that was made by, a company and it's got a picture of the Declaration of Independence on it, or I've got Beanie Babies, or I've got anything made by the Franklin Mint, really. So what happens with time is anything that is made to be a collectible is generally not collectible. So when I was growing up, the newspapers always had these things. There was like the fire engines or the ceramic, salt and pepper shakers and stuff that was, there's certain things that you bought as a collectible, but they never really had a long-term market because they were made to order and they fulfilled all the orders and the demand was completely met when they stopped taking orders. And from there on, the demand only went down for the items. So there was no real collector market. Most anything that really is collectible becomes collectible over time because it was not intended to be collectible. In other words, the very first, whatever, Apple computer, Macintosh, right? There are things that they weren't saying, hey, I'm going to make this computer and one day the computer's going to be really valuable because someone's going to want it. They were always thinking about the next technology, right? So the same thing is true now. I'm going to flip everything on its head here and say there's actually a really big market for collecting coin holders that is actually a pretty cool market to look at. And there are a lot of collectors for these different types of markets. Now, some of you are already very aware of the fact that coins are graded today mostly by NGC or PCGS, sometimes by Annex. There's SEGS and ICG and PCI. There's some other companies that have been out there in the past. And so that is going back now 3+ decades. And when you look at it, what you're starting to see is, I know a lot of people buy coins in the old holders, and sometimes it's because the coins are higher quality, but you're actually seeing people buy the holder with some disregard for the coin. In other words, what really prompted this discussion in this video was this 1958 Franklin half dollar that we got in and we put into auction. And this is something that is affectionately known as the Doily, and it has kind of a two-tone look to the label. It is green and white. And so, the coin itself is whatever, a $40 coin. It sold for $280. And the person who's buying this coin is really buying the holder. But that's okay because what's interesting is there's a niche market for these old holders and old numismatic related items. And it's not unlike, some of the strange things that I'll hold on to just because it's related to coins or coin collecting, whether that's an old coin counting tray from a bank or your little coin holders that you would get if you went to set up an account at a bank and you can save your dimes there. But the coin holders, specifically for certified coins, is actually a pretty vast collector's market because there's a lot of different things you can get. And I'm going to give you one of the cool references that you can look up and spend some time on. PCGS actually has something called the Museum of Coin Holders. And that's their very first holder, had kind of a white label to it. And then it was, after that, it had another white label. Then you get to this really thin Rattler. And then right after that, you get to the Doily. And then after that, you get to, the thicker holder, but it had like a perforated edge on it. So you can go through and spend time on the PCGS Museum of Coin Holders. And so you can start to date some of these really early Rattlers that are up there right now, and you'll see there's the early Rattlers, and then you're going to go to the other holders, and you got different generations with the different labels, the different colors of green. You have this really white green, a little darker, then it got to the almost like a teal green color over time, and that's just PCGS. The other thing that prompted this is we had a conversation recently about the old annex soapbox holders, which is what these are kind of called in the marketplace, and just how rare it is to get one that actually says UDM, ultra deep, on it, and you know, really kind of a cool market. And one of our viewers was commenting on how the guys who collect those, they're so scarce, people don't want to let them go. They don't want them to ever go to open market. They try to snatch them up. Then you can get to NGC, where you've got, you know, the different size. You got the old holders, which they call fatties, because they were a lot fatter than the modern. You know, they had a very basic kind of look to them. There's some big differences in them. You know, there's no middle line here on the plastic, and I haven't seen the same thing for NGC that PCGS has. And NGC would probably be smart to actually put together the different eras of their holders and kind of show it. You know, some of you have seen this before. It's an old video that I did a long time ago. Maybe I should just reshoot it or something. But I collect holders, coins and holders also, because I have, I'm kind of keen to these sample holders where the holders actually say sample on them. And this is an old NGC Fatty holder. I have some in, you know, the early PCGS Rattlers. And then I have some, I like the ones with the Morgan dollar, kind of a, you know, whatever gen that is, 2.1 or something. And then I'll even hold on to them from some of the off-brand companies, like, you know, thank you. I had one of our dear listeners send in this NTC sample for me. And then this Annex one, which is interesting because it's not really, well, it does say sample on the back, sample not for resale. You know, but it's kind of advertising for Annex, and both PCGS and NGC in the past have sold coins and holders just as samples. So in other words, you know, I'll have a sample here that actually has Goldline's phone number on it, but you know, this was Goldline probably ordered, you know, whatever, a few thousand of these, and had them made up so they can give them out as samples to prospective customers. So you can go down the branch of really offshoot stuff. Now there was a company called PCI that came about, I want to say in the 80s, and then for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna have to unpack this a little bit. Annex used to have an actual photograph with their coin, and the coin wasn't really in a solid state holder like we see today. It was just, you just came with a photograph and the grade, and it was back in more of a flip. So, but PCI, they had holders that just looked like a lot of holders were used to. But before that, they got the name PCI because they were the Photo Certified Coin Institute. And so their early holders looked like this, which was kind of cool because it was a holder with the coin and a photo of the coin, you know, and it had their little guarantee on the back, and it had their grade on it. And so this type of fun, this is type of fun, right? This kind of coin collecting, where you are collecting the holder and not the coin, is a fun area to look into. Obviously, I've done it with the samples. I found sample price guides online, but there are guys who collect early holders for Annex, and obviously the big boy in the block is PCGS, especially since they actually have that coin holder museum where you can make references to and actually look at and see the different generations. NGC, if you NGC fans out there, let me know if you have found a good site. I'm guessing that there's message boards and stuff like that that have references to data points you can look at on the holders or serial numbers that'll let you know what age and what time period those holders are from. So leave your comments down below, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have anything really unusual in the coin holder world. Thanks for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button. Please like the video, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks.